we would also want you to keep your questions to the end of the session, or you can at any time put in your question in the chat box. So we'll mute everybody when we start, right, to make sure that there's as little disturbance as possible. Yeah, so Cindy, I'll wait for your cue. When you're ready to start, you let me know, then I can start.
Eric, yeah, we have now around 80 participants, so I think we can start now. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now we are just exactly 11:30, right? On top.
Yeah.
So, thanks a lot, Cindy.
Thank
So
you.
first and foremost, I'd like to welcome all our business partners and also our internal Siemens team from the APAC region and partners, especially from India, Australia, New Zealand, and also from Southeast Asia. This is an English-speaking session. That's why we did not invite the other countries like the Korean and Japan side. We will probably do another session in local language later. So let's start now. So today, the focus will be around the FY25 partner business planning. So the presenters will be myself, and then Tony Gu will also be sharing some of the components of the partner business planning from market and campaign and demand generation aspect. So this is the agenda for today, right? So I'll give a quick intro of the FY25 partner business planning, the components, what are the key components of an effective plan, examples of how to set goals, objectives, campaigns, and tactics. And Tony Go will also give you a refresh about the expert partner business requirements. And then lastly, we will do a live walkthrough and demonstration of the template. And then once you're done with that, I will open up, the mic or anything for the question and answer, right, from the audience. So I think we all know that planning is extremely important, right? It's always a very famous saying from Benjamin Franklin, who is actually one of the founding fathers of the Americas and also a scientist and inventor. So he said very clearly that if you fail to plan, you basically plan to fail. So having an effective plan is important, right, for us to really drive and to grow this business. So planning is everything. So again, why the business planning itself and also the execution of the plan is important to every one of us. So it's very clear that if you look at, on this particular chart over here, you can do a very good business plan or a very poor business plan, as on the left hand side, and then you look at against the business plan that you do versus your execution, right, from good execution to a poor execution. Obviously, these are the four boxes we will tend to see where we belong to, right? So I think end of the day, I believe most of us or the partners today, what they're doing is that either they are probably, I would say that they're probably in the upper boxes there. So either we are, surviving and driving probably very small growth, or we are really, doing very well and driving, very big growth, right, in our business. So end of the day is really about having a very good plan, which is not enough. It's also important to have a very good or brilliant execution of the plan. So end of the day, we want to help you to achieve the growth quadrant over here, right? To really grow our business. So in other words, a plan is only as good as its execution, right? So planning is one thing, but executing is also equally important, right, for us to really grow the business. So what are the 4 key steps in terms of effective business planning and execution? So if you have seen the template in the past that we'll be using, the Excel template, there are basically 4 key pillars. You have the goal. You start off the planning with a business goal that you have defined. So a goal is typically very revenue driven, right? For example, a goal to do, let's say, 1 million of SIM center business, for example, that can be a goal. And then to achieve those goals that you have set, what are the objectives that you need to have to achieve those goals, right? So goal is really more at a very high level. Objective are basically more specific initiative that you do to achieve those goals. And then once you have the objective defined, that's where you will bring in the execution part, how to execute the objective through the use of campaign and tactics, right? Which Tony will explain more as we go through this webinar. So from a goal perspective or an objective perspective, we need to be able to set something what I call smart goals or smart objective, right? So instead of just the word smart, I added an O inside there, right? Called SMARTO, which I'll explain later. What is SMARTO, right? You need to define SMARTO goals and SMARTO objective. And also from there, the typical goals and the objective that you set is typically around the go-to-market area, the industry you're going after, the portfolio or the digital track you're going after, the market segment you're going after. And all this really depends on the potential or size of the market, right? Whether it makes sense to have those goals and have those objectives. So it's really around the why and then the what, where, and who. And then on the right hand side, when you define the campaign and the tactics, that's where you go into the nuts and bolts, right, of how you're going to do it, like the kind of the domain solution, the digital track we're using, the primary product focus, the expected pipeline revenue generation from those campaigns, and also the specific tactics, whether it's going to be a webinar or industry roundtable. So these are all the tactics that you have. So the whole idea is really to link the goal all the way down to the tactics, right, in terms of execution using the business plan. So the campaign and tactics is really about the how and then the when, right, to do this planning and execution. So end of the day, we want to capture all this information into the business planning template, which we'll be going through with you later. So before we go into the business planning itself, it's good to understand some of the basic structure, right, when defining a business plan. So as I mentioned earlier, we have goals, we have objectives, we have campaigns and tactics. So from a goal perspective that you set, you can have a multiple goal that you want to achieve. Each goal that you set can have more than one objective to achieve the goal. And each objective can have one or more supporting campaigns for that objective. And then finally, within the campaign, you can also run multiple tactics, right, to support the campaign. So this is actually the way it's being structured. And when you are doing a planning, it's good to have the consideration over here in terms of it's not a one-to-one kind of relationship. It can be a one-to-many relationship in terms of settings, the objective, the campaigns, and then the tactics. Again, later in the template itself, we will give you some examples of how this will look like. If you have any question along the way, please put it in the chat box, all right, so that you do not forget, and then we can try to answer those questions from the chat box. So I mentioned earlier about the SMART goals, SMART objective, or what I call SMARTO, right, with the O there. So I think for most of you are very familiar with planning, right? First of all, whether you're defining a goal or an objective, you need to make sure that the goals and objectives should be specific. Like for example, specific in terms of what you want to focus on, where you want to focus on, like the product portfolio or the industry segment or a specific region, for example. The measurable, other than being specific, you need to also be able to measure your goal and your objective, right? Typically, measurement will be something that's quantifiable. It can be typically revenue, numbers, percentages, and things like that. And then thirdly will be the actionable, or A over here. Some people call it achievable or actionable, right? So it need to be something that you can achieve, that you can actually act on, right, for that specific goal or objective, followed by the R, which is relevant or realistic, right? You need to set a relevant and realistic goal, things that you can actually achieve based on your current ability and resources and the market condition. And then T will be the time base, right? So every specific goal and objective has to have a time, right? A time period. Typically for goal will be an annual goal, right? So it's actually for the whole fiscal year. And for objective, it's typically based on that goal, and it can be based on by quarter, right? By which quarter we should complete the objective. So these are basically the time specific information. And last but not least will be the ownership, which I've added in the O, because you can have a SMART goal, but there's no ownership or accountability for that goal or objective. There's no meaning. So we need to define the ownership for that goal and objective. So that's called the SMARTO definition. So next, I want to talk about a very important change in the thinking in terms of business planning. In the past, as you know, in the past 2-3 years, we have been driving our business around the perpetual business model. As you know that the company has been in the process of transforming from the perpetual business to a recurring business, which is primarily the what I call the ARR business, right? The annual recurring revenue becomes a very important measurement or yardstick for our business. So in the same manner, we would also want the partner to be driving the business along the same direction in driving the total annual recurring revenue or ARR growth for the business. So in FY25, you see that more and more emphasis is being based on looking at the ARR growth that you're driving for your business and with Siemens, much more than the perpetual business anymore, right? Perpetual business will be drastically reducing, and we're expecting our partners to, as a whole, to drive this ARR, right? Which is actually the industry metrics now for software company, right, to go into this area. So to do that, we need to first and foremost understand for every partner what we call the ARR bridge over here. So what is the ARR bridge typically? The overall ARR that you want to achieve for the fiscal year depends on a few very key components. First and foremost, you have on the left-hand side, you have your run out and your renewal base. Run out means that, you know, these are the revenue, right, that you have regardless of whether you do anything. Meaning that this customer in the run out are typically customers who have signed a multi-year agreement, probably a 2 or 3 years agreement, and they will be continue to contribute to the ARR for this fiscal year because this is not run out yet. It is still running, right? And on top of the run out, you also have the renewal base. Okay, the renewal base will be a key component in the business planning because this renewal base will be the one that you'll be working on, especially for the renewal team, to look at reducing the churn, right? So they can see from there, the next bar is a churn. We're looking at how to reduce the churn so they can maximize. And after the churn will be the expansion. What can we do more to upsell and cross-sell into the renewal base to drive expansion, which is also a very important consideration in your planning process, followed by a price increase that we typically do for our portfolio and also renewals. And last but not least, the one that you're most familiar with will be the net new, right? New logos, right? Or new contract, the net new section. So all these pillars adding together will give you the total ARR that you have. What you have control today will be only these 4 pillars in the box that is shown. The run out and you have no control, you cannot change that. It is there today. You can't change. What you can change is to reduce the churn, drive more expansion, drive price increase, and to then drive more new business. As a whole, this will contribute to the total ARR target that you'll be measured on in FY25. So as you plan your business goal and your business objective, you should look at what are the goals that you can have to reduce churn and objectives. How can you drive more renewal expansion? How do you introduce price increase in a manner that customer will accept? And last but not least is how do you drive more and more net new business? So as you are doing the FY25 business plan this year, you should always keep at the back of mind these 4 key pillars. as part of your planning process. This is not going to be the same the way we do a few years ago. This is a new way of looking at how you're going to run and grow your business. So example of top business goals over here, right? So in the plan itself, you will be needed to define what will be your top business goals for the FY25, right? The top 3 goals or even more than 3, 4 or 5. So I've listed here as an example. These are possibly the examples of 4 goals for the year. So you can see that the goals itself is it's measurable. There's always a specific area they're looking at, and also a target that we see. In this case, Sim Center 3D business to grow to 2 million, for example, and Team Center X business to 1 million. And then the third goal is really about churn. Right? How do we reduce churn by less than 5%? And the fourth goal here in this example is how do you generate 18% of additional revenue to expansion during renewal. So these are examples of the goals that you look at. The first 2 goals are really driving net new. The third goal is reducing churn, and the fourth goal is to drive expansion, right? So you should have a similar kind of goals that you're going to set in your annual business plan. Once you have defined your goal, as per the earlier slide, we will define the objectives that are needed to achieve those goals. So for example, in the very first goal on grow Sim Center 3D business to 2 million, you look at the next slide whereby we will start to look at linking the objectives to those goals. So in the first row, you see that the very first goal I mentioned earlier, grow Sim Center 3D business to 2 million. So what is the objective? So a typical objective again need to be smarter, right? Smart, right? So example here is selling Sim Center 3D to customers in the electronics and semiconductor industry. So it's very specific portfolio and a specific industry they're going after. And then from there, you look at the industry and then the expected revenue target, right, is 1 million, for example. And then you can also define some initial high-level task assignment on who is going to own the initiative, right? So the O part of the SMART. So like, for example, this example, like gathering the top 20 customer names, who is being assigned to, when you're going to do it, when it's due, and then the progress and things like that, and the type of tasks they're doing. So we're trying to basically link, the specific goals to the objective, and then assign somebody, right, to be responsible, that we can then do a regular review to see where we are. Because the goal is to generate a 2 million Sim Center 3D business, right? So this objective is only doing 1 million, for example. You need to then supplement this with another objective. In this example here is to run an ANZ attack program. Similarly, is to drive the same goal of 2 million for Sim Center 3D. This time is really looking at the Star CCM solution, for example, right? Industrial machinery. So another 1 million, right? So the objective that you generate the numbers should also tie back to your overall business goals, right? From a revenue perspective. So and so forth, we can do the same for Team Center X, for example. And then, even your reducing churn to less than 5% is also a goal. And then what is the objective? This example of reducing churn is to hire a customer success manager by a certain period to help to look at the churn and then how to drive more adoption and reduce churn. Right? So these are examples of the goals and objective you can actually use, right, in the part of the business planning. So similarly, once you have the objective defined, as I mentioned earlier, you should link the objective to a campaign name, a campaign they're going to run. Right? So for example, the ANZ attack program, we have an ANZ attack program campaign. And then we can then define what kind of execution. Is it going to be a sales execution or what? The industry focus, the solution domain, the digital track and solution domain you're looking at, and also the primary product you're focusing on. So similarly for the Sim Center 3D objective, we also have a Sim Center 3D campaign, and then leveraging the Sim Center 3D campaign, right? The domain solution and campaign for the specific digital track industry. So you can see that this is all linked up very nicely. So we know exactly what leads to what. And then last but not least, once we have defined the objective, last part is to talk about the tactic, right? On the ground, how do you execute the campaign? And that's where we will then link the campaign name to the tactic that you use. So in this example here, on the Simtender 3D attack program with ANZ, will be a industry roundtable that we're going to do with a selected set of customer, for example. Okay, and then who's going to do it, and then all these things here. So there are obviously more information on the right side of this chart, which during the demonstration will show you the details of each of these sections over here. Right, I think with that, I just want to pass on quickly to Tony to talk about the business plan requirement for expert partner. Tony, you want to say something about this?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Yeah, so this actually is just highlight because as an expert partner, we have a very specific and also additional requirement for your business plan. And along with what kind of products we call the qualifying products, you already recognize as expert partner. But in your FY25 business plan, first, you should have very clear quota plan for this product. And the number should be more than 250K. That's the minimum requirement for if you want to renew the expert partner in next fiscal year. And we should have a very clear goal, what Eric mentioned, how you can achieve this quota plan for this product. And the next one is you should very clear the objective to support your goal. In the objective, you should mention where is the geography, where is the industry, where is the market, also who are target account for you to achieve this product goal. This is what you can mention in your objective. And following in the campaign for this specific products, you should plan at least 2 campaigns. At least one of them should adopt seamless campaign. You can use 2 seamless campaign or 1 seamless campaign, or another is your own self campaign to plan what kind of solution you want to take to market, in which market to promote the solution to drive your business for these products. And also for these 2 campaigns, you next step should plan at least 4 marketing activity we call the tactic to support your campaign as an execution plan. And at least 1 tactic should be webinar or event, which means physical event in your tactic. So that is what's the requirement for the demand generation plan in your BP for these products. Last but not least is all the expert partner should have a refresh your certification in this fiscal year. So in your personal enablement and certification plan, you should list who are the person who will refresh the latest like sales professional certification, pre-sales professional certification, or for some portfolio we are required service certification as well. You should have this personnel information in your enablement and certification plan in your BP. So that's some very specific requirement for the expert partner for your business plan in FY25. So I hand back to Eric.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. Okay, now we will then move into the meat of the whole thing, right? So we will now, I will now start by showing the template and then walking you through, right, through a live the usage and demonstration of the template. So let me just switch over to the template. You can see. So I believe you can see my template now. Okay. So first and foremost, you have start off with, of course, when using a template, it's always from the left to the right, right? Is to work the tabs from the left to the right. So step, so it's probably in a step-by-step process, left to right. First, the first step is actually the intro and sign up. So in this example here, it's more of what kind of plan is that? It's an annual plan, for example. What is it focused on? Who is doing it and by when you want to complete it, and then the progress today is more of a high level where we are. So it can be an annual plan, it can be a smart plan, right? So you want to be have another plan on smart partner, right? How to be a expert partner, right? You can also specify your plan here, and then for a new partner and also a training, but it's more specific. But typically we use the annual plan over here, right? And then you can key in all this information. In the same table, you can also use it for your quarterly review. For example, you have a QBR. So, I hope that I believe all of you do quarterly business review, right, with the partner and all together. You can use this one to also document the QBR, the Q1 review, where we are, who is doing what, and then a Q2 review. So this can be used, right, actually for giving a high level, so-called the action that we're taking, right, and what kind of plan we're working on. Okay. Then the rest are basically just a typical sign on, right, to agree and sign off to the plan. This is a very simple, very first step. The first step here. The second step is a partner information. That's where you look at providing the fiscal year. This is of course 2025. And then the version control. In this example is version 1, which means that you can have to help you manage your planning. You can probably have multiple versions. You might have some version that is basically still work in progress. You can then use this version internally to look at what is the right version or the final version of the plan that you have. So we can use that. The country that you're operating in, the country that you're part of. So you're Japan is Japan, you're India is India. So the country, and then the authorized territory, right? In some partners, they have probably those very big country, for example, they might be authorized to sell in a specific territory, maybe a northern part or southern part, or across a specific set of cities, for example. You can also define more specific territory that you want the partner to operate on, or you're operating on, the partner name, and then the partner level, obviously, right, that we have here, and also the payer ID and SFBC ID is taken from a system, okay? So this one can be updated quite easily. And then you move to the third tab, is a partner overview. There is where you talk about what is your motivation for this year, what is your drivers and strategy as a whole for FY25. So it's more like a free text, which allow you to key in a free text over here. And then for after that, we'll be defining what I showed you earlier, defining the partner annual business goals, right? So what are the top 3 goals? So probably sometimes 3 goals is not enough, right? So I actually have additional another few more goals for you to set, right? In this example here, the total 4 key goals for this year, right? As I mentioned earlier, the goals are SMART, right? It's specific, measurable, right? In that sense. And then the goals, after the goals will be the services, professional services strategy. As you know that as we go into the subscription, SaaS, renewal business, services become more and more important. The services that you have will allow the stickiness of the customer with you and to help to drive adoption and also to reduce churn, right? By offering very good professional services to the customer. So we want to understand from your perspective, what will be your current and your future strategy, right? To drive up your professional services capabilities. Okay, there's a services portion. Again, it is a free text. And then the third one is also very important, is the customer success strategy, right? Knowing that in the recurring business, right, SaaS and subscription business, you need to have somebody to be looking at the the customer adoption, looking at the expansion in the customer account, and also to ensure timely renewal and reduce churn, right? So we need somebody who is both business-minded, account-oriented, customer-oriented, right, to look at driving this part, right, of the renewal, adoption, expansion business. So the customer success strategy is important, and we want to hear from you. What are your customer success future plans and current plans, right, to support the current business? And then lastly will be the industry focus you're looking at. So what will be the top 3 key industries that you'll be focusing on? Typically, I think this industry they're looking at will be very probably aligned to your business goals that you have set earlier, right? So what are the key industries you'll be looking at, right, for your business? So it basically lists down the priority. So that is actually the third tab. I think it's very straightforward, right? Nothing really rocket science here, straightforward things. And then the fourth tab will be more the operational tab, whereby we look at the contract products. So what product you will be contracted for this year, right? So that's where you can put the X there, and then that's where the partner manager will discuss with you, and then we will agree or disagree what product that you'll be contracted to sell, and that contract product will depending on your overall strategy, your focus area for FY25, right? So this is more where for you to check what products you'll be looking at selling. There's a contract products. Then you move further down the tab. That's where the real key important section comes, which is the goals, objectives, and tasks, right? The one that I mentioned to you earlier in my example in the PowerPoint slide, you define again your goal, right? So once you define your goal over here, you find that when you pull down your box, it will actually take the goals that you define in the earlier tab, right? The partner information tab. But that does not mean that you cannot key in, right? Any goals that's not there. But the whole idea of putting them here is try to relate those goals that you set to the objective they're working on, right? So of course you can actually you can actually have a goal that's basically not related, for example, right? NX, for example, right? So you can have a goal, that can define. Okay. For example, it can be a goal on NXX, for example, and then you can then specify your specific objective that you have, right? That you want to do for this goal. And then the industry you're focusing on, and then the expected revenue and things like that. Right? So this is basically what you can do in terms of putting in your goals and objective here. Okay, so maybe this to do for example, right, you want to conversion, right? So you can actually look at defining objective here. Once you define that, then when you go into the campaign plan itself, and that's where you can actually link up your campaign with your campaign with the objective. I think this one I'll leave it to Tony to explain this, Tony.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe I can share my screen by myself.
Yeah. So just bear in mind that the goals that you set, right, ideally should be driving the objective, right? If the goals that you set, you should have a corresponding objective, and it can be more than one objective to support the goal. As what I showed you earlier for Sim Center and for Team Center X, for example, they are basically multiple objectives to drive the same goal. Yeah. So maybe I just maybe you take over from there to show your section on the campaign portion, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, I take control because I can do some demonstration here. So yeah, follow as what Eric mentioned. After you have very clear goal and objective, third step, you should think about the campaign. And very careful. I know some partner want to do very detailed planning now. Please have a pause because you need to have a thinking of high level. You should think about in order to achieve your objective, what kind of solution you want to take to go to the market, in which industry. Okay, maybe you want to achieve like one of the objective. You want to run one solution, only promote one solution in two different industries, or you want to promote two solutions in same industry. Okay, then you can think about what kind of simple campaign you can adopt to support you to take the solution to the market. So that's the purpose for this campaign tab before you go to very detailed tactical planning. So in this tab, you can, what Eric mentioned, if you have very detailed planning in the last tab, the objective, you can select which objective you want to achieve for this campaign. Okay, so you can select one objective for your campaign planning as a starting, then give your campaign a name. Then here, the campaign can be executed by a sales team, by a marketing team, or by both of them. You can select which team will run this campaign in your organization and who is the customer of the industry you want to approach. Maybe you can select one industry, or you can select maybe cross industries. It depends on what kind of target industry, because maybe some industry you need to promote different solution, or even same solution you want to talk about different message to industry customer. So you can place them in two different campaigns. Then very important is in Siemens, we take the solution to the market. So in column G, we list all available solutions you can select to take to the market to support your objective. We have so many solutions, okay? And if you see some solutions start from 9, like 930, so there's multiple domain solution, but we have one primary solution, 30. So this is a multiple solution you can take, or you can take one single solution to the market. Then another is we also have more than 300 campaigns for partner you can adopt. Adopt means Siemens design a lot of assets like infographic, case study, presentation, calling script. These are assets for different campaign. So you can fully leverage these assets when you adopt this campaign. And in order to make it easier to select campaign, if you select like one solution, I said I want to run like number 17, a mechanical product design. Then all the campaign here will relate to number 17's campaign. There will be short list for you to select. Okay, but if you think I want to take the solution in like number 12, system engineering, then the campaign will go to number 12's campaign, another list. So based on your solution, you decided to take the market. Second step is you can select which campaign. And here, if you have no more idea of the campaign, you could go back to a high score. Okay, we have a high score specific for each campaign. There's the campaign sales book. You can go to the sales book to understand what this campaign are talking about. Then you can select the right campaign for your purpose. Then move forward, what kind of key portfolio you want to promote through this campaign, and whether this, back to mention, whether this is an expert partner, your qualified products or not. Okay, then what kind of language you can use, in which region, and also the campaign start and the date. And the following column is based on what kind of overall investment, we call the spending of funds you need to spend for this campaign execution, and also what's the return, the forecast return from the revenue, from the pipeline, from the opportunity and the leads. This is the return you want to achieve from this campaign. So again, this is very high level thinking about how you take the solution to the market, which campaign you can adopt. And plan this kind of level, it will be easier for you to go to the next level, we call the tactical plan. Okay. So after you finish this campaign plan, you can move to the next tab, tactic plan. So in tactic is a very detailed execution plan. Go to each like a different activity. But all the tactic should link back to the campaign you planned before. Okay, so one campaign, as Eric mentioned, can include one tactic at least. Also, you can include multiple different tactics to run your campaign. Like you can acquire a database from the third party, you can send an email blast, you can run a webinar, or you can hold a seminar. Okay, you can send a newsletter. All this kind of thing we call a tactic. You can think about when you do a tactic plan, please think about what kind of right message you should take to the right person and via right channel, means via right different tactic. So then you can plan a tactic type, description, what kind of thing you want to do. And this is the list of different tactics you can select. We offer to you and give you a mindset like you can run different tactic one by one. And also who is the owner to run this tactic, and whether you want to run via zipped or not, what's the dates, okay? And very important, you can think about in which stage, in the buyer journey stage or customer life cycle stage, in which stage you want to run this tactic. Because at different stage, the message will be totally different, even you approach the same persona, okay? And also, who is the right target persona to deliver your message? The contents to the executive level will be totally different with the engineer. So you maybe run different tactics for different persona, okay? Then following is the same in each tactic for each activity. What's the cost you expected to run, to spend, and how much MDF you want to request for this tactic. Maybe the tactic don't need any cost, that's fine. But if there's cost, you can think about the request MDF. And also what's the return as a tactic from this execution. And a combined order return will be the campaign's return as well. Okay, then last but not least, the last column actually is the request number. You can keep this blank at the first stage, but after you submit your MDF request, you can fill in this request number here. Then it will be easier for you to track for each activities. If you request MDF, how about the results from the MDF spending? So that's the linkage between your tactic to MDF request. So then you can use this sheet to plan your each activity one line by one line for different campaigns. Okay, so that's the tactic plan. And back to you, Eric. I'm going to stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for sharing that. So let me just bring you back to continue from my side here. You can see, right? Okay, good. So this is actually the tactic plan that Tony has explained. So it's very clearly you can see the campaign and tactics are really focusing on driving the execution. The goals and the objectives are focusing on planning, basically, right? So these four have to come in together, hand in hand, right? Integrated, so that we can then deliver a good plan and a good execution. Next thing I'll talk about will be the around the staffing summary. The next step is about what are your resources you have today, and what are the planned investments or additions of headcount in FY25 for sales, for your technical. Technical refers to like pre-sales, for example, and post-sales. Your professional services team. Very important. What are your customer success investment in terms of headcount? And then your marketing headcount, right? Investment as well. So the current is showing where you are today in the column D, how many you have currently today doing Siemens business. And then the E is where you define how many more you would like to add, right, in FY25 over that 1 year period. Okay, and then how many reduction, which I do not hope to see, right? Reduction. So in some cases, you might also want to reduce, right? Maybe attrition or people leaving. So you have a reduction and then there's an addition here. But net, we want to see what is the total headcount that you have planned in total for the fiscal year, your new one and your existing one, right? So this gives us an indication of your investment plan. So that's pretty straightforward. And then we also then have the tab more pertaining to enablement and training. So if there's any specific training or enablement that you need from Siemens to help you, you can also document the description of the training that you want, the time frame, and then where we are. So we can use this. We'll work with the pre-sales team or the enablement team to ensure that whatever enablement that we have agreed with you and planned will be executed, right? By looking at the request in terms of the enablement needed, right? With your people to be listed over here in this particular tab. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And then once you're done with that, then we have this more of the high-level quota plan breakdown by TCV by product line. So we're looking at, for each of the product line that you're selling today, right? What will be the estimated TCV, right? The total contract value. If you will do a multi-year contract, then this will be inside here. The FY25 goal, and also what's your aspiration? What's the estimated aspiration or projection for the next 2 years, right? 2026 and 2027 as a owner projection, right? So you can use this, and then again back to the expert partner. You can then define whether are you looking at expert, right? Are you an expert partner for each of those products that you have defined over here? Okay, so it's more of a high level TCV quota plan. This one has no ARR or AC or no ARR planning inside here. It's just purely for overall high level TCV planning. As you know that your partner level achievement is depending on your TCV achievement. And then we have the Appendix A. So we will also expect that you do have a list of target account in FY25 that you want to focus on, and so that Siemens is aware what account you're looking at today, what kind of industry and product focus, and then how we can then support you in account planning, for example, using using our tool like the Revergy, our tool like the Solutioning or the Explore to help you with Digital Track to go after those specific account that you have named over here as a target name account for you, right? And then so again, this is also a very good time for you to also let us know what will be your focus account in FY25, so that we can better support you, right, in that manner. Appendix B is really more for VAD, right? If you're a distributor for Siemens, then this is where you list down all your reseller and the target. So you can, it's again self-explanatory, right? This is really for the resellers, whereby they are basically a VAD have multiple resellers. Then the Appendix C will be the one on the quarterly business review, or what we call the QBR. So in the QBR, that's where we document, what was discussed in the quarterly business review with you, and then to also identify what are the goals that we have, and then achievement of those goals, and also to look at what are the, the metric we're looking at achieving, and also what are the enablement, and also, what are the things we can do, right, to really drive, right, the achievement of the quarterly targets, right, by using a QBR. So it's just a simple template to document what was discussed and what are the action, right, for those QBR. The last two tabs which I put right at the back is the total ARR quota planning. Okay, this one I will not be discussing this in detail. This particular table, we have to wait for the our finance side to provide you the latest number in terms of your run out. What is your renewal base and run out? And then you know, by working with the PME team, then they will advise you on what will be the growth percentages and also the renewal base that you're looking at. So you can see that in terms of the planning moving forward from the AR perspective, the involvement of the renewal sales team becomes very important. But you cannot be planning this looking at just purely net new, right? As you saw in my earlier table, net new is only a small portion of the overall ARR target. More than 50% of your ARR target will come from your renewal base, which means your churn, right? Your expansion in that base. So working with the renewal sales team, or if you do have a renewal team in your organization, your salespeople who are selling net new should be working with them to then work up together the overall renewal base percentages, you know, the expansion percentages, and then with the net new percentages, you can then use that to look at the overall target that you can achieve, right, on a quarterly basis. So this one, please bear with us once we get the numbers ready by partner for you, and then the partner manager will work with you, right, in terms of defining those targets from ARR perspective. Okay, yeah. So the last two tabs, you just leave it for now. Right, so focus on the qualitative planning, and the numbers wise, we'll do it later once we have the numbers confirmed. Okay, and then with that, I like to then open to the floor for any questions that you might have, or in the chat box that you would like to ask. And then we can probably open up the mic, right, for any for everyone here to ask questions. Any question from anyone? Feel free to unmute to ask a question, or you can.
Hi, Eric. This Thao from Vietnam.
Yes,
so,
Thao. Yeah.
How about timeline?
Timeline for to submit the business plan, is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think Tony, I think it's typically end of this, is it by Q1, right? Because we have not get the numbers yet, right? The final numbers, right, by country, so you get it probably I think probably in November. So I think we should get the plan all ready before the end of Q1.
Okay.
By December, Tao.
Okay.
Okay, by December. Yeah. There's a question from Kiwat. Okay, hello Kiwat. Kiwat is asking, can you confirm expert partner revenue target is 250K TCV? Tony, over to you.
That's the question. Actually, this bottom line, definitely the higher the better, but the minimum 250K TCV for specific qualifying product.
Okay, yeah, good question. Yeah, 250K is the target.
Yeah.
Okay, and yes, Benjamin, how are you, Ben? Yeah. So campaign plan and tactic plan are same or different? So
maybe
I get confused about two. Yeah.
Okay, I like this question. We can do this at the explanation again. First, the quick answer is different. Okay, just explain in the demonstration. Campaign is very high level thinking about how you take which solution to go to which market, what kind of things campaign you can adopt. So that is the campaign level. Tactic is very detailed execution by different type of activity. So, for example, if we want to say, I want to promote mechanical design in automotive industry by adopting Siemens campaign like 17.01, then I can look at what kind of assets of this campaign, then plan like I can run a webinar. First, the tactic for this campaign as a tactic plan. I can do a telemarketing. Okay, I can have a sales customer visits by present this presentation with the key customer. This we call the tactic in a tactic plan. All this tactic is execution. So there are two different tabs, two different plans.
Yeah, maybe
just plan your campaign first.
Yeah. maybe just
Then
add on
go
what
to
Tony
tactic.
say is that the campaign is really looking at the asset, right? What are the campaign asset we have in our system that we can leverage, the campaign that we can use?
Yeah.
The tactic is really the execution, like you said, the emailing, the webinar, roundtable, right? These are really more the on the ground execution. That's the tactic. I hope that clarifies your question, Ben.
Hi, thank you, Tony and Eric. I think that there's a page on your beginning slide that
Yes.
show the relationship of the
Yes.
objective, campaign, and tactics, right? Can you go back to
Yes.
that again?
Yes, sure. Let me do a quick share now.
Eric, you share.
Yes.
Okay.
This one here, is it right, Ben?
The one that has the
It's like a
branch.
workflow.
Yeah,
this
this one.
Yeah.
So that if we in the page of campaign, then we go to the page of tactics and list down all the tactics. For example, like telemarketing, webinar, seminar, physical event, those kind of thing, right?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Correct.
the total expense of the tactics, for example, like 3 tactics, require 10K, then equal to the page of campaign that this campaign will have the expense of 10K, right?
Yes, you're
Yes.
right. Yes.
All right. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
I think it's more like a very breakdown on the bolts and nuts, right? How to do it. That's why it's really about execution, right? You just talk about campaign, no tactic is too high level. The tactic really drills down to your point, right? The specific things that you do, and that also constitute to the cost, right? That adds up to the overall campaign cost that you have mentioned. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay.
I like your question. You raised very important points for all the people in the call.
Yes. Then we have a question from Dia. Right. Hi, Dia. For expert partner, the target of USD 250K TCV is for SaaS and fully cloud, which is X products together.
Actually, the 250K included all the license type, perpetual, subscription,
Perpetual as well, right?
SaaS,
At
and
a
SaaS.
factor of 0.25,
But
right?
yeah, but the perpetual we have factor. We have the like it should be 25% for most countries in this core English-based countries. So, but including every license type, yeah, but the perpetual is effective.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Dia. Okay. Any more other question from anybody? Right. So yeah, so it's important really to know. Yeah, good. Yeah, about how we plan. As I mentioned, always consider the renewal team you're working on. Very important. Last time we tend to work on renewal by themselves, then sales by ourselves. But now it's different. You have to look at the renewal part. Because the renewal consists of more than 50% of your total AR end of the day, right? It's the renewal base they're looking at. So that number will impact the overall performance. So yeah, you have to work very closely with the renewal team as well to define what will be your ARR to achieve the ARR growth, right? For FY25.
Eric and Tony, there is another question in the chat box on expert partner, whether it's applicable only to SaaS or not. Can you take a look at that, Tony?
Yeah. There's a hold on. Yeah, is it the one from Ben asking about the
The expert partner condition page, and maybe I can share
that for you. Okay, let's go back to this one here. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Ben, okay. Your question? This question is from Benjamin, right?
Yeah. Ben, do you have any question for these slides? Or maybe not. She maybe just want to have a look. But no worry, we'll share this deck to all of you in the call this way.
Including the business plan template as well. Okay.
So I think there's a question from Adia. He's asking the expert partner 250K, is it only for SaaS?
Oh, we answered that. I think it's not just for SaaS, it's actually for the land expand, right? Land expand, including the perpetual, but perpetual will be affected of 25% for the countries on the call here, like India, South Asia, ANZ is all 25% recognition.
Yes. Yeah. Land and expand, partner land and co-sale, TCVs. Yes, we don't count fulfillment. Don't count.
Fulfillment is excluded, yeah, from the
Yes.
250K for the expert partner.
Mm.
Even our partner level itself, we don't count fulfillment. So it's the same, yeah. Okay, good. How much time we have now? We only have 5 more minutes, right? Yeah. Any more last question before we end the call? This call is recorded. You can always share with your other teammates if they missed the call. And then, of course, we will share you the template in case you do not have it. And then we always be here to answer any question. You can talk to your partner manager. If not, then you can also contact us if any specific question about the template and how we do that. Yeah. Regarding the AR target, the renewal base and the run out, we will provide those numbers once we have the finalized numbers from finance side, which should probably be somewhere in the November timeframe. So more details will be shared in terms of the planning, in terms of numbers, right, for the AR target setting. That will be done later once you have the numbers. Okay, if no question, then I'd like to thank everybody for your time this morning. And then, yeah, happy starting Q1 and all the best. And then we look forward to talking to you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.